Hello everyone, welcome to, well, extreme feminist bullshit, for lack of a better title for the thing right the moment. I am your host, the, the Lord of the Crocker Squirrels. I am also the head squirrel in charge. Even the lovely Kitty has to answer. Alright. This one's gonna be fun. As you can no doubt tell from the title, we have something really kind of it's on one hand hilarious, and on the other completely jaw-droppingly stupid. So we're gonna go with both here and see what happens. All right, let's have a look. Now, we were digging around the internets earlier, and we found this from, of all places, The Guardian. Because of course it's The Guardian. It's social justice, just box in a nice little box with a great big bow. I mean, bigger than Kitty's bow. It's good. Okay, and we have this. We have. Oh, no! They've got their own bow. It's like purple with pink polka dots all over it, and is the size of New York State. Really, and for a box that isn't even 3 inches square, which is about the amount of intelligence I've ever found at the Guardian. Kind of sorry, kind of sad, really. Home opinion letters editorials. Well, and of course this one is written by a feminist sort of person. Or at least she'd like to think of herself as a reasonable individual. No, she's a feminist. There's a difference. Okay, sex robots, innovation driven by male masturbatory fantasy is not a revolution. If you want to see the entire article and the little video that they attached, you are welcome to the link. It will be downstairs in the description, right above the bits about the Patreon and other such things. Please drop by those. They're actually more important for some silly reason. So, let's have a look at this one, Suzanne. You're going to make an argument that has absolutely nothing to do with anything. And as you can tell, Grumpy Squirrel is not amused. I'd be willing to bet that Grumpy Cat's kind of pissed off too. What do you think? What do you think? Okay. Look, robots. Okay. See, here's the thing. You know, it's not actually driven by male masturbatory fantasy, because you can make female robots, or you can make male robots. It wouldn't be that hard. The sad part of it is that women have had the tools for their masturbatory fantasies for 20, 30,000 years? Well, it's been a long time. It has been actually. There was an archaeological find. It was found in chunks, and they finally got it put together 3 or 4 years ago, 4 or 5 years, something like that, quite some time ago. And the entire site was dated to like 25 or 30,000 years ago. It was a fucking dildo. It was made out of rock. It was a rock dildo. Seriously. Okay. You ladies have got these tools already. I don't know what you're screaming about us for. Seriously. Let's talk turkey. Okay. Ladies, any women that happen to be watching, or those of you men that watch that happen to have a woman in the house, I want to see a show of hands. You can put it in the comments if you want. How many of you people have or have partners that have sex toys? Seriously. How many of you? Because I'd be willing to bet that almost all of them do. Almost all. Very nearly all. There might be a couple that don't. Well, I look at it this way. Women have their dildos, we have porn. Okay, it's really not that much different. And if you think it is, something is wrong. Okay? You don't need a man, you got a strap on. Well, fine, I don't care. That's all you. Okay? So so this article here, a little blurb at the top. From men who struggle with intimacy to women trafficked into sex work, all sorts of people stand to benefit. But really, these are simulations of women to be bought by men. Okay. Let's get stuck into it. Let's see if you can prove this premise. This premise right here. Let's see if you can actually. Let's see if you can actually make this argument, because I don't think you can. Okay. Here's a little anecdote from her. When I was young, the ideal woman was said to be a deaf and mute nymphomaniac who lived above a pub. You know what? That's never been the case in my lifetime. And she doesn't look like she's much older than I am. What do you... Okay, so she's 5 years younger than my mother. But my mother never said anything like that. It's certainly not been that way since I was born. Okay? Yeah, this is an award-winning column, folks. Check it out. Okay. These days, I have a grudging fondness for this cliche. At least this imaginary woman is a creature of desire, and human. Nympho is so of its time as and used to be said of any woman who is not a virgin. Again, probably not true. Never been true in my lifetime. Nymphomania has actually been in my lifetime, or as long as I've even known what that word fucking was. Nymphomania was actually a psychological problem. It's a psychological disorder where you cannot be satisfied with sex. I'm sorry. Go ahead. I'm stepping over you. Apparently the... Okay. However, this fat noodle isn't done yet. Well, she thinks she's a fat noodle. Apparently, though, we are in the midst of another sexual revolution in which the new ideal woman will be a robot. Lifelike dolls that feel real and communicate their quote-unquote needs. Well, okay. Fair enough. I don't hesitate to say this was more or less inevitable. This was coming, and it has been coming for at least the last 75 years since the early 1950s. The idea of a sex bot is not new. The idea of a robot that looks really good to men, not a new idea. It's been a staple of science fiction since Isaac fucking Asimov. Okay? The idea of realistic robots, not new. Yeah, completely working reproductive system. How about that shit? Okay. I'm not sure whether revolution is the right word, but that is the one being used. Well, okay, I get that. I don't know if it's I don't know what you think the right word might be, but it looks like a fairly reasonable idea. I mean, think about it. Let's look at that. Let's take that apart for just 2 seconds. Okay, 2 little seconds. Okay, maybe a little bit longer than that. Okay. Situation on college campuses. Okay, you as a human being, as a female human being, not a male human being, mind you, but a female one, scream rape, or even just say rape. All you have to really do is say the word, or You don't even really have to say that. Okay, you could with 2 words, or actually 3, you can destroy a man's life. Period. End of conversation. He is done. He is over. He will never work again. Okay, whether there was actually something going on or not, and whether or not sex was consensual, whether or not he was even in the neighborhood. Okay, I know of one guy that got arrested for a rape, was kicked out of his college for a rape, that happened while he was on the other side of the fucking continent. That's here in the United States. He was on the West Coast. His school was the East Coast. Yeah, it's like stretching it from here to fucking Brazil. You know, let's. And he was kicked out of school while he was still over on the West Coast. He went back to school to find out he had been expelled for raping somebody 3 days earlier. What? What the fuck? Okay, he could prove where he was. They still expelled him. The cop said, "You weren't even here, dude. Just chill." They wouldn't readmit him. Women have this power. Women have this power. That's a problem. Okay? Now, the authors of a report from the Foundation for Responsible Robotics, which has a link leading to another Guardian article that we will show here for a moment, by Haroon Sadiq. I don't know about anybody else, but it sounds kind of Muslimish to me. Okay, but he's reporting on a thing. He's reporting on an article by. Oh, nope, that's not the. I wanted the other link. There you go. Responsible Robotics, which you don't. He reports news on the Guardian website, but this is for Responsible Robotics. Is the people he's citing from, but whatever the paper is, he doesn't cite it directly. He just makes a reference to it, and we can't look at the paper because paywall. Okay, you click the join us link here, and they want and of course you can't even join them unless you have to request membership on which you can get for 10 euros if you're a student without a PhD. You have to tell them about yourself rather thoroughly, and you have to be able to tell them where you're going and have all of this shit. Because I actually tried this. I went to check it out, and without all of these things, you aren't getting in. Everything is required. They want to know about they want to see your Facebook and your Twitter. Okay, this suggests to me, at least, that they don't want you to see what they're talking about for reasons that nobody understands. Well, they understand it, probably because they're full of shit. We'll get that's a different video. Okay. The author of a report from the Foundation for Responsible Robotics suggests that sex robots could provide help for people who find it hard to have intimate relationships. People in care homes, people with dementia, people with disabilities, blah, blah, blah. Okay, she suggests this might be a noble idea were we to accept that everyone must be enabled to have sex as a human right. Actually, it's a biological urge. Okay? It's hardwired into our fucking biology. Sex is a thing. Okay? And I'll be honest with you. We have huge sets of rape statistics, some of which are completely falsified. They use the technique that they use to come up with the 1 in 4, 1 in 5 statistic for college campuses was applied in the Congo apparently a while back. I'd have to ask Aiden Paladin exactly where she found that information. But actually, it wouldn't be equivalent. It would be 5 times as bad because the the actual numbers uh, in the Congo come out to about by the time you're finished breaking it down, it comes out to about one rape in one rape in 1,000, or one rape per 1,000 in just four, or more than one rape, less than one rape per 1,000 in 4 years, as opposed to the 20 to 25% that seems to be occurring on college campuses everywhere. Oh yeah, no, and in the Congo, just so you have it, the Congo is a failed state. It has no effective government, and rape is considered a tool of war. The average woman in the Congo will expect to see probably 4 or 5 rapes in her lifetime. Over 4 years, over any 4 years, because I actually watched Aiden do the math on one of her videos, which I will link below. It'll be down there. And I do recommend you go watch it. She covers about the last 10 or 15 minutes of the program. She's working with Hard Bastard for that one. She comes to the conclusion that it's, 5 times as bad to be a woman on a college campus in the United States than it is to live in the Congo as a woman. What's freaking wrong is what that is. Okay. So, the idea here is, if you give men, or women, as the case may be, the potential to have sex where there are no other people involved, they'll tend to do that. And the rape numbers over the last, 25, 30 years have been on the decline in a very large way. Okay, the rape numbers per 100,000 right now, according to the Department of Justice, not the bullshit survey they took, was, I think it was like 20 or so per 100,000 population. The United States is 300 million people. So for every 100,000 people, you're looking at 20 rapes. Now, I will not suggest that that number is too low. In fact, I very much insist that that number is too high. But there is, the numbers being put out by the universities right now are way too high. Okay. Now, moving on here. Let's go. Let's move on. Let's see. That this is all somehow therapeutic. Well, okay. Therapy. I don't have a problem with therapy. How about you, Kitty? there's that chunk right there. Hmm. So, okay. You see, I actually follow that argument. Actually, to me, that argument actually, at least mildly. I mean, yeah, no, rape is bad, but at the same time, a robot is not human. And whilst it may have a personality, the personality is code. Okay, they want to turn this into a huge ethical issue. Well, think about it this way. What was it? Jack Thompson said that video games encourage violence, real world violence. Well, we already that was definitively proved bullshit. So I'm guessing this is going to be fairly similar. Once you find technology that fills whatever need it is you have, and that is not in fact criminalized, then what are you going to do? Uh-huh. Yeah. So what happens if you're a shut-in neat that's never actually been anywhere near a real female that wasn't your mother, and your mother was an abusive shit? What are you gonna do? Maybe you'll get frigid Farah. Maybe you'll get frigid Farah and try and figure out how to coax it. You know. Well, honestly, if that's your cake, go for it. You know, and on top of that, the robots don't have to be sexy. That's just the shell they're made with at the moment. If you're a chubby chaser and you asked and you demanded and you wanted a robot that looked like it was 500 pounds, you could probably get one. It might cost you a couple bucks, but screw it. You know, it can be done. You know, is this going to be? Well, there are some. See, here's the thing. Here's the thing. There are some people that don't deal with humanity outside their own personal bubble anyway. Some of these people only ever see evidence of humanity existing when the landlord comes around for the rent and somebody drops off a fucking package from Amazon. Okay? There are people like that. There's lots of people like that, and they're becoming more common. Okay? Would you deny these people the opportunity to actually come out of those shells? The feminists would, because these are people that are taking their meal tickets. These robots are taking away their meal tickets. I mean, what do you have to feed a robot? Seriously, what do you have to feed a robot? What do you have to do to feed a robot? Okay, first off, it's a bot. Unless you can prove it has an actual form of sentience, then you don't have a case. Okay, it is a tool. It is a robot like that would be no different than your fucking dildo, woman. And I know you've got one. You probably have a few of them. Okay? Hmm? Okay. No, maybe they'll have more time to interact with your ass and figure out that you are not worth losing your fucking ass over. And that's where the problem comes from. Because frankly, in a great many circumstances, women or men that go out and they get married and and then for some reason or another, after the children arrive, their wives don't want any part of them anymore, which, yes, did happen to me. They're fucked. They are shackled to a leash for at least another 20 years. They are shackled to this woman at least until the child turns 18, and probably longer. Depending on whether or not they want to go to college. Financially, they're still responsible for this. Why would, and then there are men who don't want children. They like the idea of sex, but they don't want children. I dare somebody to show me a robot, a constructed object, that can have kids. Or, in the case of child robots. Okay? What's stopping you from buying a robot that is reasonably unprogrammed? Okay, that's just a kid robot, maybe 7 or 8 years old, or as old as 13. Okay, somewhere in that range, and just let them run around the house and study and do shit. And then when they get completely up your ass, you turn them the fuck off. Okay, the same goes for the female robots, and the male ones too. If you don't want them, you shut them down, you put them in the closet, and leave them there. Okay, that's the difference between. Yeah. It takes away the victim card. The victim card has, at that point, my expectation and I honestly expect this is the thing that's going to happen, is that the rape statistics will drop so far down that you're going to be looking at one rape in a million in, say, the United States. There will be almost, you won't ever hear about the crime again, and the victim card will just poof. Uh-huh. Until you're looking at the cost of a full function sex robot that costs with the price of a PS4. You know, $300-400. I'm pretty sure there's enough men in the world, or enough women for that matter, that want that full body contact rather than just their damn dildo, that would put out that kind of money, so that they don't ever have to deal with, the toilet seat getting left up because he doesn't use because he can't use the toilet, or because he's a robot, he doesn't have biological functions. You know, the guy that will cook and clean and do all the shit that they don't want to do, uh, that goes out during the day and does the job, that does the super dangerous job that at worst is going to get him damaged and be repairable, rather than killed outright, which is what happens to a lot of men these days, especially in some of the more dangerous areas. Sewer workers, miners. I wouldn't. There's not a wage. It's not a wage gap. It's not a wage gap. It's an earnings gap. But we already had that conversation some time ago. That video is like way the fuck back there. Okay, right along with the paint tax, which is another pile of bullshit. Different products, different prices. Those are the rules. You don't like it? Use amends. Okay, women's products are more expensive because they have more shit in them. Or they're the same price and smaller. Or something. There's a limit to what you can do economically to make this all work. Now, if we can get robots down to the price of say $400, then rape would just go away. You start mass producing these things? No. You get the male version, you get the female version, and the rape. Mm-hmm. You see, here's the thing. She also makes a reference here. Okay, what's your point? They can do more if you give them if they're programmed for it and they're equipped properly for it. Okay, here's better, because once they get more technologically advanced, they probably will do that. Now, here's the thing they've got here: cyborg sex. First off, this word cyborg. Suzanne, you have used this word. I don't think it means what you think it means. Because you actually have two types of robots here. You have what would be referred to as a gynoid, which would be a female robot, or an android, which would be a male robot. You have two varieties of these things. Okay? A cyborg actually requires biological parts. It does. As a matter of fact, it would have to be largely meat, not metal. Okay. We will be doing another video on that, because the intersectional bullshit is just too stiff for us to cover in this video, right along with Ms. Moore here. But there is a link. Okay. There's a link in the article. There will be a similar link in the description, and we will do another video for this later. Be aware, if you click the link, there are some things that cannot be unclicked. And be prepared with your favorite bottle of paint thinner, because you will need it. It's ridiculous. Okay. See, here's the thing. We are in fact exhausted about actual women banging on about consent. About consent. Why? Because that's all the feminists seem to know, and they're teaching it to everybody else. Okay? They're trying to teach my son, my 7-year-old son, that he has to have positive authorization at every step to make that work. And my little brain says, no. He's 7. What the hell does he know? He's not even sure what the damn thing is for as yet. He knows what he uses it for, but he doesn't know he doesn't really know anything else. Why are you teaching this to my children? Okay, don't do that. Okay, being laughed at by men who are already immersed in a world of porn and video games, I don't know a guy that isn't. Okay, first off, you girls have your masturbatory aids, so do we. Okay? If it has to be porn, then fine. So be it. Okay? I think I'd probably... But they have their sex toys, and we're not allowed to question them. But... Okay. And video games. I don't even know where to start with that. With that part of the argument, because I'm not gonna. You already know that you are not gonna. No shit. Okay. What is this shit? First off, I think everybody that actually plays video games, or at least plays video games of that nature, knows the difference between a video game woman and a real one. Some of us are even married. No! Okay? And if you're going to be a picky flesh and blood woman, well, you're probably going to be forever alone. If you're going to be super picky, then you might want to go home and rethink your life. Okay. But has he been convicted? Is this actually child porn? Has he in fact fucked this thing? I mean, you don't know. Okay. Yes, I agree. That actually needs some more study. But here's this fucker, Noel Sharkey again from the Institute of Robotics, Responsible Robotics. Now, I'm no expert, but I will tell you right now what happened to all the fucking blow up dolls. What's yeah, yes, an actual, an well, we also have the whole. Okay, we have the whole. Would there be a benefit? What you would have to have is you would have to have a selection of pedophiles, or at least a few of them that have not actually committed crimes, and give them these things. Okay, as far as masturbating to a real woman or masturbating to a lifelike woman, have you ever heard of a blow-up doll? Hmm? Have you, anybody? And we go back to the fucking dildo from 30,000 years ago. Yeah, you can get a flashlight. Okay, but you know, a technology driven by masturbatory fantasy is not a technology. Uh, okay, uh, yep. Technology driven by masturbatory fantasy is not a technology that enhances the lives of boring, unprogrammable women. Bullshit. Complete and utter bullshit. Okay? This is so bullshit, I don't even know where to fucking start. First off, they make them in male. If you girls want a guy and you don't want to deal with all the messy biological stuff, and you can I have my argument, please? I want my argument. Yeah. Okay. No pregnancies, because okay. Uh huh. Why not? They have them. An actual revolution would be technology driven by a different set of needs altogether. Wrong. Because the sex industry always there are two functions in any society in any major society where new technology is constantly being put together. Sex and combat. If you don't need them for combat, if it's not going to work for combat, it could very easily and it does work for sex, it's still going to get developed. And I don't care what you. I don't care which you think is actually more ethical. Yes, you demand. You demand everything, and you accept nothing. Either you make demands of a man and you can't, and he can't deliver on them permanently, or you demand that we subject ourselves to the authority of women, for the authority of women, and to hell with anything we might actually need. Okay, there are there are anti-feminist women. There are women that, while not strictly anti-feminist, are not inclined to do shit like that. I've got one of them upstairs, although she does tend to think that some of the radical feminist nonsense is bullshit too, which is a good thing in my brain because it means I don't have to have arguments with her. Okay. She gave me quite a bit of support when it came time to making the decisions about whether or not to circumcise the children. I showed her one video and she went, "Oh no!" And that was the end of the conversation, permanently. That conversation, I didn't even have to show her the entire video. She heard the first 30 seconds of it. Aha! No, no, not doing that to my child. You are damaging these people. Circumcision. You damage these boys. You do. Wait till they're old enough to sign their own fucking papers. If they want it done, they'll do it themselves. But you don't do that to it. You don't do that to a tiny child. He's already completely overloaded with all the new sights, sounds, smells, blah 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 that he didn't have in the womb. The thing that he was most used to is gone most of the time, and now you're gonna freak the fuck out. It's not a vestige, guys. Let's not ladies, this is not a vestige. Men, if you're doing this to your sons, for shame. That's my opinion. I could be wrong. Now, we have reached the end of this article, and yeah, actually, you managed to walk over me for most of it. We're going to go with that. All right. So, that's going to be the crock a squirrel conclusion. This lady's an absolute tit. That's the short version. Okay? She has no idea what she's talking about. She's giving her opinion, admittedly, but she's got the feminist lenses screwed on so tight that her eyes have been replaced. Right there in the face. Somebody cyborged her by embedding the feminist lenses. We need to not do that. Hell, if I had the money, I'd probably have bought a female one already. Not like my wife has any kind of real sex drive, so whatever. When they become sentient, there will have to be. It's a sex toy. Right now, it's a sex toy. Well, but then according to some folks, that would be the definition of rape. Okay, that would be the it doesn't have the ability to consent, and therefore you are and therefore you are raping it no matter what the hell you think you're doing. Okay. Yeah. A sex toy that can wrap its legs around your waist. If you got the money for it, I'd say do it. Just go for it, dude. You know, is especially because again, it doesn't really matter if they can consent or not. Your blow up doll can't consent. The blow up sheep or the blow up woman cannot consent. It will. Yeah, well, you know what? We'll save that for the next video. We'll talk about the rights of dildos. Because reasons. You can turn the damn thing on. It must consent before, yeah. And then of course there's always the made to penetrate rules, which for rape. So you can rape your dildo, but well, no, it should be reporting you to the police and having you arrested. This isn't about the privileging of male desire. It's really not. It's about somebody not liking the idea, or a bunch of somebody's actually, not liking the idea that women can be cut out of the equation if men want to cut them out. And that's a thing that should at least be possible. I mean, you don't want to give them the right to financial abortion so that they can declare that they can write up a thing that says she's welcome to the kid. I'm not going anywhere near that again, and I don't want to be paying for it. No, that's not a thing that happens. They don't want you to. They don't want me to be able to do that, and therefore, anything that would prevent that from happening is automatically bad. Anything that would prevent women from going after men for children that they tricked them into or they didn't want in the first place. You know, you know who I'd buy one of those for? I'd buy one of those for Dr. Rand Camp. That would be good. The rest of their natural lives. Because kids. And or at least or at least keep it clean, you know. If I wanted to get another woman to the bed with my wife, hell, we could hell the robot would actually be good for that. You don't trust anybody else enough to, and you can imagine what would happen. What would be fun for all the cucks is to have a male robot in the house. That would be great. Because he knows that the only person that's going to be able to get her pregnant is him. So there's no questions about that. But he can still play the cock if he wants to. All right. Anyway, I think we've had enough of this. I think you guys have probably had enough of our ranting. So we're going to go now. But we will be back. Probably we will be back next week. We're going to dig a little deeper into this shit. And maybe, just maybe, I can get Aiden Paladin to either drop by or at least give me some tips on, or at least give me some more information. But I will be putting a link to her critter down below, to her video. It's an hour and 20 minutes or so, but I sat and listened to the whole thing. It was actually worth it. All right, so that's it for us. You guys have a pleasant whatever time of day it is. Have fun. We're not going to make games. We're not going to make games fun again this way, unless the robot happens to have a game console in its gut, which I don't think would actually be a bad idea. I actually have a game running around. I actually have a game running around that does this. So, all right, you guys. Be safe, be sane, be skeptical, and don't let the feminists bite you on the ass. See you later. See ya.